Welcome to our latest explainer. Today, we're diving into something that's a total game changer for hair regrowth, the powerful duo of microneedling and minoxidil.
So let's start with a situation that I'm sure a lot of you know all too well. You're using minoxidil, you know it's supposed to work, but you kind of hit a wall. The results just aren't what you were hoping for, and you're left thinking, okay, now what?
Well, here's the thing. It turns out the secret to getting way better results might not be about finding a new magic ingredient at all. The real problem, a lot of the time, isn't what's in the bottle. It's about how much of that good stuff can actually get past your skin and down to the hair follicles where it needs to be.
All right, so let's get into our first section here and really unpack why this go-to treatment can sometimes feel like it's just not cutting it. First off, let's be clear. Minoxidil is the real deal. It's FDA approved for a reason. It works by opening up the blood vessels in your scalp, which helps get more oxygen and nutrients to your hair follicles. And yeah, studies show it helps about 2/3 of people grow new hair. That's great. But that also leaves a pretty big question on the table. What if you could take that power and just crank it up a notch? Or, a few notches? How do we unlock the full potential of an ingredient we already know works? And that, my friends, is where our story gets really, really interesting.
The answer, it turns out, comes from a completely different kind of technology, one that totally changes how your scalp even receives the treatment in the first place.
Okay, so what is microneedling? Well, it's actually a brilliantly simple idea. It creates these thousands of tiny, invisible little pathways, or microchannels, in your scalp. And this does two amazing things at once. First, it tells your body, hey, time to heal, which kicks your natural growth factor production into overdrive. And second, it creates these perfect little express lanes for topical treatments to sink right in.
A great way to think about it is like you're taking care of a garden. You wouldn't just throw fertilizer on top of hard, packed-down dirt, right? No way. You'd aerate the soil first, poke little holes in it so the nutrients can actually get down to the roots. Microneedling is doing that exact same thing, but for your scalp.
And this isn't just a nice idea or a theory. Oh no. When we start looking at the actual hard data behind this combination, well, that's when things get incredibly compelling.
When you put the two approaches side by side, the difference is it's night and day. On one hand, you have the standard method, which is limited by your skin's natural barrier. On the other, you have this synergistic approach that boosts not only the product's absorption, but your body's own ability to grow hair.
So get this. Studies have shown that when you combine microneedling with minoxidil, you can make the treatment 3 to 4 times more effective. That's not a small jump. That's a huge leap in performance, and it's all because you're giving the active ingredient a direct path to get right to work.
And if you think that's impressive, wait till you hear this. When you bring in even more advanced scalp technologies, things like high-pressure jet sprays or electroporation, which help open up cell membranes, you can increase absorption by an absolutely astonishing 17 times. That completely changes the game.
A landmark study back in 2013 really put this to the test. They had one group just using minoxidil and another group using minoxidil plus microneedling. And the results? The combo group saw way more hair growth. In fact, a staggering 82% of patients in that group reported over 50% improvement in just 12 weeks. Incredible.
So it's pretty clear at this point, right? Synergy is powerful. Combining these treatments isn't just adding 1 + 1, it's multiplicative. And, naturally, that leads to a really fascinating question. If two proven technologies are this good together, what would happen if you combined 3 or even 4? This is what inspired a much more comprehensive, much more personalized way of thinking about hair restoration. And this concept is exactly what you see in comprehensive plans like Wellaholic's Hair Grow 3X. It's about taking that idea of synergy to the next level. You get to choose any 3 treatments every month from a whole menu of powerful options, like RF microneedling, traditional scalp microneedling, low-level laser therapy, or even that advanced minoxidil scalp booster we just talked about. The real magic of an approach like this is the flexibility. You're not locked into one single path. You can actually adapt your strategy from month to month, creating a plan that's truly personalized to you and how your scalp is responding. It really puts you in the driver's seat. Okay, so we've talked about the tech, the synergy, the plans, but what about the actual real-world results? What can you really expect from a fully customized, multi-technology approach?
Well, the clinical data for these kinds of multi-tech plans is pretty staggering. We're talking about a documented 45% increase in hair growth in just 6 months. Think about that for a second. That's the power of hitting hair loss from multiple angles all at the same time.
And it's not just about the numbers on a chart. The personal stories are just as powerful.
You see testimonials like this all the time. And what's interesting is they often highlight not just the tech itself, but how important it is to have an experienced professional guiding you through the journey.
So this leaves us with a final and, I think, really empowering thought. Maybe the secret to hair regrowth isn't finding that one single magic bullet treatment. Maybe the real secret is discovering the unique, synergistic combination of treatments that works perfectly for you.